Hi, welcome to this tutorial. In this video, I will be talking about the regular work add-on for Jira Cloud. This add-on allows you to save entire plans of issues that you usually concurrently add to your plans, to your backlog. The first thing you need to do is install the add-on, and as soon as you do, you're going to get the option to enter it right at the top menu by clicking the regular work button. That takes you to the application's dashboard. And this dashboard just gives you a snapshot of the current state of the add-on. So in this case, it tells us that it's got 4 plans and that the last execution date was this. So to start using the add-on, the first thing you need to do is create a plan. You do that by clicking on the regular work plans button on the menu and then clicking on the new plan button. Here you specify what project does this plan apply to. Let's say test project 1, and you set up the name of the plan. The last option is the trigger. What kind of trigger tells Jira to create this plan and add it to your backlog? At the moment, we have 3 options. You can trigger it manually. You can trigger it every time a sprint starts or when the sprint ends. In this case, let's pick manual. And now the plan is created. As you can see, it doesn't have any items in it. So we're going to start by adding some. So the first thing we did was create an epic, and now we get to change the properties of the epic. So for example, the project, so now we have the first item created. And what we can do from here is we can treat this as a work breakdown structure so we can keep on creating our epics. So in this case, we could say execute plan. And now we can start adding the second level of work packages to the plan. So for the plan project, the first thing we're going to do is change the order. Plan project here. And then we're going to add stories to it. So story, create schedule plan. And you can set the assignee right away, and that's always going to come out on the plan every time. Soft and priority, and you can add components if any, or you can add story points if that's what you use, or you can use hour estimates if this is what your company uses. So let's keep adding stories to this plan. And in the stories, let's go ahead and add some subtasks. So now we have 2 epics. One of the epics has 2 stories. One of those stories has 3 subtasks. Now we can do the same for the execution plan epic. We can just start creating tasks. We can start creating stories, or we can even start creating custom types if you have some on your project. So in this case, let's add a few more. Now we have a small plan. You can always change the position of the issues on the plan in a way that it makes sense to you. And then they are automatically saved. So if we take a look at the project, test project that we just played with, let's take a look at the backlog. So these are the test stories that were there before. Now let's execute the plan and see what happens. Micro plan, run. You sure? Yes. So if we go and take a look at the backlog of this project, we can see that all the issues that we set were created. And we can see that the epics were also created as we specified. Now let's take a look at some of the stories and see if our subtasks were created as well. Yep, seems like they were. And this is how it works. Now there are several ways that you can trigger the creation of these issues on your backlog. It's not only manually. If you have a Scrum team, you can set it up so that every time the team closes the sprint, the current sprint, these issues will automatically get generated on your backlog. The same can be done if you specify a sprint close or sprint open. So those are the current three triggers that the application allows you to have. Let's talk a little bit about troubleshooting. So if you're in the process of creating your plan, you get disabled Epic. New Epic button is disabled. That means that your project is currently not configured to accept epics. So you will need to set that up. You will need to allow that project to have epics in its list of issue types. Okay, let's talk about permissions for this add-on. So this add-on, anybody can access it from the top menu. However, that does not mean that everybody gets to see all projects. So, the way the security scheme works for this add-on is quite simple. If a user enters the add-on, if they do not have access to a certain project, they will not see that other project on the drop-down. They will only see the projects that they have visibility to according to the Jira security scheme already set up on the Jira instance. So whatever you set as security for your Jira is automatically inherited by this add-on. So here I can only see the projects that I'm supposed to be seeing. I can't see anything else, which means I can't edit anything else. So there's no security concerns when it comes to the usage of this. This is actually quite flexible, and we decided to do it that way so that every time a team needs to modify their recurring plans, they don't need to go and ask the Jira administrator to do it. That takes away a lot of flexibility and adds overhead that is really not necessary. So the teams can just come in here. If they belong to the project, they can get to come here and modify these recurrent issues. Let's talk a little bit about the execution log. So every time a plan is executed, it's logged here on the execution log. So you can see exactly when it ran and what the outcome was. As in every add-on that we make, we do have a help section. And here you can see the most frequently asked questions. And if your question is not here, you can always just give us a ticket in the help desk or by sending an email to this address here. We're more than happy to address customer concerns, and we're very thrilled to fulfill customers' requests, feature requests. So we would love to hear what you have to say and what your needs are, so we can adapt our add-on to it. Let's talk a little bit about the future plans for this add-on. The number one request that we're getting from our customers is um, to allow for different triggers. So we need additional triggers, and that trigger is a timed trigger, so that they can set a frequency based on time when the plan is supposed to execute. So, for example, they want to be able to execute this once a week or twice a week at a certain time of the day, and so on. So we're working on this right now. Another issue that we have been asked for is the sequencing of the items in the plan. So if I have this item here, and I want to say that it depends on this item here, so I want to be able to specify that. So we're working on that as well. The last item that I'm going to mention on this video that we're working on is the further restriction of the add-on. So as I mentioned before, it's got a very nice security scheme, which is inherited from your Jira instance. So everything you set up on your Jira instance is going to happen here as well. Uh, However, some Jira administrators would like to still tighten up the access by specifying what groups of people can actually edit the plan. So we're going to set up a scheme where some people can see it, some people can edit it, and some people might not be able to access it at all.